girl. You're a lucky girl because your parents both want you to
No,
become
no.
a pure devotee.
This is not the girl. This is the boy. This is Keshav.
Oh,
Brinda is...
Krishna. Sorry about that.
No worries.
That's right. Your daughter's with your
Mother, my mother's house, yes.
Yes. Keshav Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Bolo, Hare Krishna.
You are very lucky. You're very man. You're a lucky young man because your parents are going to bring you to the highest platform of self-realization in a very few years, a very short time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're getting started in a minute. Let me get the Vashishta link going.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay. Jai. Zoom meeting, share screen. So, Prabhu, can you see this? Yes.
Yes.
All right.
So where have we ended?
We left off at number 5, so we can start off number 6.
Number 5, Vashista?
Yes.
Well, then I'm on the second Vashista here.
You were here.
Are you talking the line verse or the Vashista?
We're talking about number 6. We start from number 6. We're on
Number
the first
6.
Vashishta. We're on the first Vashishta, number 6.
What does number 6 say?
Number 6 says real renunciation comes from transcendental
Okay.
feelings.
That's still in the first Vashista.
Yes, this one right here.
And that's what I was trying to clarify.
Okay.
So are you going to read it?
I can read it. Everyone can read it. I think everyone should read it.
Well, who can read it? Who's going to read it?
I'll start, and then Vishnu Tejas Prabhu can read also.
Oh, okay.
Okay, number 6, first Vashishta of Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja offering to His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, 1961. Real renunciation comes from transcendental feelings. Without such feelings, a renouncer is known as simply as show bottle. Okay, next person can read.
Real renunciation comes from transcendental feelings. Without such feelings, a renouncer is simply known as show bottle.
Go ahead, Nara Narayan Prabhu.
But there's another show bottle. You want to read the next verse?
No, number 6.
6. Real renunciation comes from transcendental feelings. Without such feelings, a renouncer is simply known as show bottle.
Jai. So, what does he mean here?
Shall I make a observation on this number 6?
Yes, please. Every one of them. We should share our realizations and discuss.
The first thing to understand is, do you know what is show bottle?
No.
Okay. Show bottle is a pharmaceutical term. It's a bottle or it's a perfumer or something. They're in the window, they put a beautiful big bottle, but it's empty. There's nothing in it, but it looks like the product. Based on the bottle in the display, the customer comes in the door and buys the same product for real in a little jar, like perfume or something of that sort. But the show bottle simply means it's there for show. It has nothing in it. There's no content. That's why Prabhupada uses the term. It's a 19th century term, by the way. Do you get the point? Hello?
Yes, we get the point. Yes.
Okay, the show bottle is simply an empty bottle with nothing in it, just to make it look as though that's the product. But the product can be gotten, but not from that bottle, because that's a fake presentation. Real renunciation comes from transcendental feelings. Without such feelings, a renouncer is known simply as show bottle. So transcendental feelings cannot be obtained unless one is able to contact the reality of his existence as spirit soul. Simply having knowledge is nothing more than facts. Anyone can have piles of facts or bookfuls of facts or buckets full of facts, but the facts do not mean anything without there being realization. And the realization, the natural byproduct of realization is feeling, transcendental feeling. Where does this feeling come? Well, the jiva. And why is that feeling coming from the jiva? Because the jiva is Sat Chidananda. So Sat meaning eternal, the feeling comes from the knowledge, Chit, and also then from Ananda or bliss. So that blissful feeling must be there at least to some degree before the speaker can be anything other than a show bottle. I've been in the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, where Prabhupada stayed near where the Rupa Goswami Samadhi in Bhajan Kutir, where his window was looking out at there. And I came up to see the deities, and to one side there's a man with a collection flask, a lota for taking collection, some donation, and he's simply reading, trying to sound very vibrant and very spiritual, but he's just doing it for the money. His great virtue is that he can speak Sanskrit or pronounce Sanskrit nicely, but that doesn't mean he has any realization. If he did have realization, that's not what he would be doing. He would be engaging people, but he isn't engaging people. He's simply uttering the sound vibration, and the innocent people, the women and those who, and the husbands following their women, come to have darshan of the deity, or Radha Damodar, and then they give some donation because they feel, oh, this is very auspicious, and this is very nice, and he should get some money for this nice recitation and good pronunciation, and the verses, which I don't really understand, but it sounds pretty good to me. So that is not the purpose of this verse. This verse is to distinguish that the show bottle sits there collecting money. And I've seen, I didn't give any money, by the way. He is there collecting money for uttering the sound vibration, which pleases the sense of social correctness of the persons coming to offer darshan. So if they are pleased by that chanting, then imagine how superficial is their darshan. They go up to the deity, they see the deity, they fold their hands, they bow their head, they even may offer some obeisances, but usually they just fold their hands and nod their head slightly and said, now I've had darshan of the deity, maybe I can ask him for some benediction. And then he goes and sees this person, as he walks away from the deity, that person's on the left. Between him and the Bhajan Kutir and Samadhi of Rupa Goswami, and I might add Prabhupada's room. And so he makes a donation, a few paisa. Not even a rupee. Well, now maybe 10 rupees, 100 rupees, because money is not worth much anymore. But in those days, there was 12 rupees to the dollar. On the black market, 17 rupees to the dollar. So if a guy gave a few paisa, that was considered to be a notable but not excessive donation. So the show bottle is there for the purpose of showing off the bottle. What is he showing off? Oh, his garb, his beard, or his tilak, or his way of gesturing, whatever it is that he's doing. He's learned how to do it in a way to please the public. So when the public is pleased, he feels, and is quite correct, that he's done enough to get some money. And what does he do with the money? Publish books like Prabhupada? open temples like Prabhupada? Go to America and get a bunch of hippies to chant Hare Krishna and then take sannyas and then, are you there still? Hello?
Yes, we're here.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Yes, we're here. We're listening.
It cut out. Yes, does this guy, the show bottle, does he take his money and go to America? Does he open a temple anywhere? No, he simply buys rice and he buys dal, maybe mung dal, maybe chana dal, and spices and hing, and maybe a few beaties just to relax after all that hard work. So that show bottle is what Prabhupada says is not bona fide. He says the real renunciation comes from transcendental feelings, not calculated business dealings. Without such feelings, a renouncer is known as simply as show bottle. But who knows such a renouncer as show bottle? Not the people offering darshan to Radha Damodar, who then give him a few paisa. They think it's all part of the process. They think that's the way it's done. They have no idea. And if they say, do you see that room behind the show bottle guy? I mean, what's his name, Swami, otherwise known as show bottle? Do you see that room back there? There's a man sitting in that room. And he's old. And he's got a typewriter. And he's typing out the Bhagavad Gita as it is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He's typing and typing. And as he's typing, he is thinking, how I can get to America. And he talks to people. Maybe I will take a boat. So he talks to Sumati Maharaji. And Sumati Maharaji is so fond of Prabhupada. She was fond of Gandhi, so what to speak? How can you be fond of Gandhi without being 10 million times more fond of Srila Prabhupada? If she has capability of honoring a man of doing austerity, well, Prabhupada certainly fits that category much more than the show model Gandhi did. So, but what did Sumati Maharaji say to Prabhupada? Oh no, Swami, look at you. You are so old now. And your health, I understand, it is not that good. You should not, you're sitting there in front of our temple. You have a window looking out at the Bhajan Kutir of Rupa Goswami and the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami. Here's where you should spend your time and reach your spiritual perfection in this lifetime, whatever the height it is you aspire to, get it by sitting there. You can type if you like, but no one will read it anyhow. So just be there. It's the perfect place for you to be. And Prabhupada said to her, but no, Sumati Maharaji, I don't want to sit there. I do. There's nothing I like better than sitting there. But I'm being called by my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He does not want me to be show bottle. He doesn't want me to simply sit there and people say, oh, hi, Swami. How's the retired pharmacist doing today? No, he wants me to go to the West and preach in English. And Sumati Maharaji said, no, that is excessive. He said, Maharaji, will you give me passage on one of your boats? Oh, no, Swami, I cannot do that. I would not like to have your blood on my hands. I don't want to think at night when I'm trying to sleep that I'm the responsible for your earlier death when you could have stayed here, but you took the fancy of going to America of all places, sinfulest place anywhere in the world, and I should know my boats go there all the time. So why do you want to do that? He said, because my Guru Maharaj Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has given me that instruction. And whether it's a wise instruction or not wise, it's not for me to judge. If he has given me the instruction, and I accepted him as my acharya, as my spiritual master, And because I accepted him as my spiritual master, I will follow his instruction. If it leads to my death, so will living longer lead to my death. Everything will lead to my death. Being born is leading to my death. Having been conceived in the womb of my mother is a foretells in the future of death. Either I will die in the womb from some miscarriage, or I will die as an infant from some disease, or I will have some heart failure as an infant, or I will get jaundice, or something will happen. So many babies are dying. Practically, if you have 10 children, you're lucky if 4 reach adulthood. And of those, many die prematurely. So death is not the issue, Srimati Maharaji. Duty, dharma, obedience to the order of the transcendental words of my spiritual master, Om Vishnupad, His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That is the risk for life. And Srimati Maharaji, Rani, my dear beloved Mataji, consider this. If my spiritual master said, throw yourself in front of the train on its way to Churchgate from Juhu, if he said, throw yourself in front of the train, should I do it? Or should I say, no, you cannot be genuine spiritual master if you tell me to throw myself in front of the train? He said, but what if I throw myself in front of the train? So I go to do it. Or he could say, yes, you throw yourself. Or he could say, I was testing you. Now come back. You have passed the test. And he said, but you could say, but master, I didn't pass the test. Because passing the test means I would have thrown myself in front of the train and be crushed by the train. So how can you say I passed the test? He said, I could see your intent, but to satisfy your question or satisfy your concern that you did not obey me, I will give this reassurance to you. I have changed my request. Do not throw yourself in front of the train. Never mind what I said. I changed my instruction. Stay alive. Go to Radha Damodar temple. Write the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. He didn't say this, but this is being transferred to the heart. Work on the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And then, as eccentric and as contrarian as it may sound, go to America and see what happens. What do you want me to do in America? It doesn't matter what you do in America. Go to America as you are, willing to die under the train, willing to give up your austerity in Vrindavan, willing to beg Srimati Maharaji. He didn't know any of these things, but I'm putting them in because that's the intent. And then because you are willing to do the order that I have given, that has been given to me to do the contrarian thing by my Guru Maharaj, Gaurkishore Das Babaji, then me, and now you, the nice householder man, renounced, with children, renounced, wife, beautiful wife, renounced. You renounced. And now you go to America as #1 contrarian in the history of the world. Because when you go to America, you will transform. But I'm not going to say what you will do. Just go to America and see what happens. Just see. Don't have to make anything happen. Don't do anything. Don't act. Don't think. Don't feel. Don't will. Just go to America and see what happens. Make me dance like a puppet. See what happens. Don't make a plan. If you make a plan, it will blow up in your face. Don't do anything. Oh, you can make a plan, it won't work. Just go to America, and one instruction I will give you. He did not give this instruction. I am saying he did. See what happens. Just see what happens. And Prabhupada did. And I challenge anyone to look at those years, about 10 years. I challenge anyone to say, have you noticed what happened? Did you see what happened? He went there on the order of his spiritual master. Now, did you see what happened? What happened? Millions of books, so many temples, hippies turned into sannyasis and householders, women turning away from being just, sex women or sex workers even, and became chaste housewives. Oh no, you cannot. If you are not virgin at birth, there's no chastity in your life. You should kill yourself. No, supposing you're a sex worker and you chant Hare Krishna. That's what Haridas did with the prostitute. He turned her into a saint. She chanted Hare Krishna. No, there's no restriction, you see. The restriction is in the tight-assed, uptight mentality of the show bottle preacher who says, you have to do like this, you have to do like that. But I ever say you got to do it just like that. And if you don't do it like that, you're not going to be successful. So do it the way I tell you to do it only. That's the show bottle. Except the show bottle doesn't even go that far many times, because the show bottle at Radha Damodar was simply chanting from Shastra in a nice tone of voice, with nice gestures, with nice facial expressions. For why? For paisa. That's why, to get some money for his food, his drink, whatever that was, and beaties. So that is the meaning of show bottle. Now, shall we go to the next verse?
So I'd like to read what Srila Prabhupada's purport on show bottle, one paragraph.
Yes, go ahead.
And this is from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, verse 8. Instead of becoming a pseudo-transcendentalist for the sake of wanton living and sense enjoyment, it is far better to remain in one's own business and execute the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into the kingdom of God. The prime Swarat Gati, or the goal of self-interest, is to reach Vishnu. The whole institution of Varna and Ashram is designed to help us reach this goal of life. A householder can also reach this destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. For self-realization, one can live a controlled life as prescribed in the Shastras and continue carrying out his business without attachment, and in that way make progress. A sincere person who follows this method is far better situated than the false pretender who adopts show bottle spiritualism to cheat the innocent public. A sincere street sweeper in the street is far better than the charlatan meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living.
There it is. Do you want to say more to relate that to that Vashista number 6?
No, this is very informative of how one can progress in spiritual life, and this is one of the reasons why we're discussing these things, to have a practical understanding of how to do these activities, how to not be a show bottle spiritualist and make advancement in our personal Krishna consciousness.
But understand that this purport is designed by Srila Prabhupada to attract a person to the Kanista Autocard platform.
Right.
Because whoever is given that advice to become a sincere sweeper in the street, He's a Chandala. He's not even a Shudra. And he is being invited. Yes, chant, perfect your life by sweeping. As your broom moves, hear the mantra being recited in tune to your movement of the broom as you're sweeping the streets. This is sincerity. And we've mentioned this, I've mentioned this before, saying that when people joined the temple, they were meditating by polishing the countertop, by sweeping the floor, by taking out the garbage, by peeling the vegetables, doing things which you would think were very low-class things to be doing in this material world. But in the temple, under the direct order of Srila Prabhupada, they were glorious services to Krishna, as though Krishna were personally present, you see. So that is the two. But that purport is it's the same, but a little bit different than what Prabhupada is getting to in that shloka, in his poem from the Hare Krishna Panchami. Because he's talking to his godbrothers who have already taken sannyas. They're not going to become street sweepers, even though maybe some of them should have been. He is telling them, here you are, scholars, here you are, renunciates, here you are, teachers, here you are, quote unquote, gurus, here you are, whatever you're doing. But where is the outcome of what you're doing? The sincere sweeper of the street, the outcome of his sweeping is a clean street. I mean, he sweeps a clean street. And what gets swept in the process as he is meditating on Vishnu, his heart becomes swept of all dust as well. That is how to become the Kanista Adhikari. And this distinction is going to be very much emphasized. Prabhupada did not emphasize them because his disciples would all have gone insane if he had. Because they all thought they were big shots. How can you be trying to aspire to be a sweeper of the street when you're a big somebody or other? You think you're a Madhya Madhikari or more. How can you do that? So Prabhupada did it, but I am not doing that. I am taking what Prabhupada said and shining a light on it, or more importantly, it's shining a light on us now. We are seeing the light of what Prabhupada meant in that purport in the Gita. And we can see the same light from Prabhupada's words, poetic words, in the Hare Krishna Panchami, that he's saying, do not become the charlatan meditator and they didn't say those words, but a show bottle. Do not the show bottle. So having used the word show bottle is very powerful. And because of their British education and training, all of his godbrothers will know damned well what he means by the word show bottle. They don't have to look it up in a thesaurus. They know. Okay, now what?
So, Vishnu Tejas Prabhu, do you want to share some realizations, or do you have a question or something?
Oh well, I was just when you read that, I was thinking of Bhagavad Gita 5:5. I'll just read the verse because like everything is kind of relevant, honestly. So, Yat Sankhe Prapyate Stanam Tad Yogerapi Gamyate Ekam Sankyam Cha Yogam Cha Yapashyati Sapashyati. One who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level as sees things as they are. The real purpose of philosophical research is to find the ultimate goal of life. Since the ultimate goal of life is self-realization, there is no difference between the conclusions reached by the two processes. By Sankhya philosophy, researcher one comes to the conclusion that a living entity is not a part and parcel of the material world, but of the Supreme Spirit whole. Consequently, the spirit soul has nothing to do with the material world. His actions must be in relation with the Supreme. When he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is actually in his constitutional position. In the first process, Sankhya, one has to become detached from matter, and in the devotional yoga process, one has to attach himself to the work of Krishna consciousness. Factually, both processes are the same. Although superficially one process appears to involve detachment and the other process appears to involve attachment. Detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. One who can see things, one who can see this sees things as they are.
So
And then
so you're talking, I believe, or distinguishing in that what you read between the Madhyamadikari, no, I'm sorry, not Madhyamadikari, the Jnana Karma Bij and the Bhakti Lata Bij. Jnana Karma Bij attempts to find the solution and the answers to the questions of life by study, by education and reading the Shastras. The Bhakti Lata Bij is the bija by which the heart begins to develop the instinct to go skyward with the pure, the beginnings of love of God. And the Bhakti Lata Bij then grows like a Jack and the beanstalk, going up, up, up to the lotus feet of Krishna, and there fructifies and has flowers and leaves at the lotus feet of Krishna. And that is coming from your heart. That's the devotional creeper. However, in the Jnana Karma Bij, that same objective can be achieved, but the process of Lord Chaitanya bypasses that. In fact, Lord Chaitanya, when Ramananda Roy distinguished between the Bhakti Lata Bij and the Jnana Karma Bij, Lord Chaitanya did not want to hear anything about that Jnana Karma Bij. He said simply was very, found it not satisfying, perhaps even a bit annoying. So what happened is after he rejected, basically, essentially bypassed or rejected the Jnana Karma Bij, he came to the Bhakti Lata Bij. Lord Chaitanya began to dance in ecstasy. Now, in terms of Jnana Karma, there's a saying, probably it is from the more Mayavadi school, about Vedanta Sutra. A man wants to become self-realized. So he approaches the Vedanta Sutra and he says, oh, he produces very nice sounds. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya, like that. Please, Vedanta Sutra, reveal to me, please reveal to me your book. You reveal to me, what will I find, or what is the goal of my approaching you, the Vedanta Sutra? What am I to attain by approaching you? And the Vedanta Sutra, a little book, said in majestic tones, Tat Vamasi, Tat Vamasi, Tat Vamasi. Thou art that. So what do you approach Vedanta Sutra? What do you find? Thou art that. You find who you are. But what do you find by the Bhakti Lata Bij? You find out and practice, not just find out who you are, but the process of being in the Bhakti Lata Bij is bypassing the Jnana Karma Bij or Vedanta Sutra. So, when Lord Chaitanya came here, he did not come here to bring us the Aniyavalasa Bij, which is social behaviors, trying to get along, go along to get along, or get along to go along, or whatever they call it. Pat my back, I'll pat yours. You shake my hand, I'll shake yours. I smile at you, you smile at me. And that's the Jnana, that is the Bhakti, the Jnana, what am I calling it? That is the Aniyavalasa Bij. Horizontal. You try to solve everything, and where do we see? Not even. We're in a place that is far lower, because the Aniyavalasa Bij still is a spiritual quest. We're in planet Earth, and guess what? Look at the way people do. They do all that just like that, except they also kill each other, rape each other, pervert each other, seduce each other, molest each other. at the same time they're trying to smile and be friends with each other and make deals with each other. So it's way below the Anayabalasa beach where we're living right now. But the Anayabalasa beach is not worthy of Lord Chaitanya's notice or attention. And the Jnana Karma, he looked at it and walked away. Where did he take interest was in the Bhakti Lata beach. So that shloka that you just read to us, that is showing the outcome of pursuing the Jnana Karma beach for perfection. And that's any good Hindu and any good devotee of the Vedas, not a devotee of Krishna, will say, yes, yes, if I do that, it'll lead to my perfection. And someday it might. But Lord Chaitanya was not wasting his time on any of that. Lord Chaitanya said, we don't have time. You have 10,000 years to deliver everybody. They're not the bugs and the rats and the bugs and the rats and the trees and the plants and the ants and the cows and the horses are not going to sit down and start studying the Vedanta Sutra. You idiots. There's no time for it. Chant Hare Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna. Chant, chant, chant Hare Krishna mantra. And you will deliver the ants, the germs, every worm in the soil, every bird in the sky, all the butterflies, fruit flies that live for 2 days. They'll hear the holy name. They'll become devotees in their next life. This is how serious we are. This is how determined we are. There's nothing else that we are meant to be doing right now. Chaitanya gave it to us, not the Vedas, not Vedanta Sutra, not anything, not even the Upanishad, not even the Bhagavad Gita. None of these things are there to replace the holy name of Krishna. They're there to lead us to understanding why we're chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And Prabhupada said so himself specifically. He said, actually, all of my books are there so you will understand why, how, and that you should chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So our job is to chant Hare Krishna. If you want to study a book, do so at your own risk. What you should do when you start studying the book is look at your watch. And when you finish an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, study without stopping of the book, no matter which one, no matter how wonderful, no matter that it's written by Prabhupada, when you finish after you've done it, look at your watch again and said, I'm 3 days closer to death. Why wasn't I chanting Hare Krishna instead? Because I wasn't advanced enough. I had not reached the Madhya Madhikari platform. If I'm trying to get onto the Kanista Adhikari platform, well, I have to do everything I can. I have to read what I can. I have to study the Bhagavad Gita. I have to study the Upadeshamrita to try to get through my thick head that the Kanista Adhikari can accept disciples, but they will not make advancement under his insufficient guidance. So instead of getting it through my thick head, I want to become an ISKCON guru. Oh, how wonderful. So you're going to delude your disciple into thinking he will become spiritually realized because you are giving him insufficient guidance. Well, what do you mean by insufficient? If I'm giving him guidance, I'm telling him to chant. We have kirtan, we take prasadam, we have deities, we have a big Vyasasan, they have me sitting on it. What's the insufficient part? Oh, what's the insufficient part? It won't produce the outcome. You have to hear, as Prabhupada stated in this Falgun Krishna Panchami, direction. How can a man who is a Kanista Adhikari give direction, not what to do, but where to go? Direction doesn't mean just follow the 4 regs, chant Hare Krishna, read from the Gita. Yes, of course you do this. The Kanista Adhikari must. But I am right now not saying don't do these things. What I am saying is look ahead of doing these things and realize the purpose of doing these things is world Sankirtan, to get everyone in the world to chant Hare Krishna before they die, before it's too late. How long will I meditate on my 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita while creatures are dying all around me? People are dying. Grandmother's dying. How many people are dying? And I'm busy trying to get smart enough to get to the point of getting them to chant Hare Krishna mantra, which Lord Chaitanya said, do it. But no, I have to delay it so that I can spend more time while they suffer and die. And where will their deaths reside? Who's responsible for their death without hearing? Well, whoever was reading and not chanting loudly in every town and village. If you're chanting loudly in every town and village, then they will not die. When you're reading, if you're reading out loud, there's a certain number of bugs. If you have a cat or a dog, he may make an advance. Your kids, if they overhear you over their video games, they may hear you. But I'm telling you seriously, the whole idea of direction means where to go, not what's the destination. The where to go means now. Destination is an idea that I can accept and believe that I believe. Pretend that I believe. Assume that I have even realized, but it's not enough. We have to act. And what is the act that we act? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
So I invite everyone to stop. Don't stop reading. You must read, study, become perfectly self-realized by reading. But don't think that that is the object of life. Because if you do, you'll die during chapter 16 of the Gita, and you'll take birth at chapter 4 of the Gita in your next birth, without having delivered very many people, except the germs in your body that happen to overhear you chanting the verses out loud. Does that sound pretty crude thing for me to say? I hope so, because that's what I intend it to be, is very, very crude. What is the crude part? Do what you have to do. Like if you see a person, I was in New Vrindavan, and I was in Wheeling, actually, near New Vrindavan, tearing down a house single-handedly to get materials to build cottages in New Vrindavan. And I was standing there, and I heard a humming noise. And somebody said, jump. And a huge timber fell down from the top of the building and landed exactly where I had been standing. And the man that was watching said, I've never seen anyone jump that much. I've never seen anyone jump. But you don't want to know the actual truth? I didn't jump. I didn't know there was any reason to jump. Somebody said, I don't even know if he said jump. He cried out or something. I don't even know if he cried out. All I know is I jumped. I must have jumped because the thing landed where I was standing, had been standing. It would have killed me. It was heavy timber. So how did that happen? You see? So we have to be very careful in this lifetime to act. You have to know when to say jump. And we don't say jump, we say chant. We have to know when to say chant. To whom? Well, who do you want to say chant to? Or more importantly, who do you want to leave out of having heard you say chant? Who do you want to be excluded from hearing your words chant? Or do you want to exclude anyone? Or do you want to include everyone? That is world Sankirtan, including everyone. Hare Krishna. Can we get to the next shloka?
Yes. So the number 7 is, but there's another show bottle with preaching as its purpose, the Lord Sannyas, which is the defeat of the impersonalists. So number 7 is very important, but there's another show bottle with preaching as its purpose, the Lord Sannyas, which is the defeat of the impersonalists. So I think, or not think, this was the purpose of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, and all the founder acharyas. And this should also be our purpose, to not only chant, but also read the scriptures and then be able to defeat these people, especially the false gurus and the false conceptions that ISKCON is currently propagating, which will not last 10,000 years.
But we can understand that to be true, and I think your analysis is excellent. But may I mention what there's another, why does he say show bottle? But we've already defined that show bottle is an empty bottle with no content. Why does he use the word show bottle again as a favorable thing?
I have no idea.
Because on the Jaladutta, Prabhupada said, make me a puppet. Translate, make me a show bottle. Let this Bhaktivedanta Abhecharan body, who has had children, who's had sex with his wife, who's eaten prasadam, who's gone to tea shops to try to sell back to Godhead. Let this Abhecharan, Bhaktivedanta Swami, let him be seen as the vessel or the bottle. And let the content be coming from you, my dear Lord Vishnu. And so the defeat of the impersonalists is twofold. If you have knowledge, you can use Vaishnava Kata to defeat the impersonalist. But another defeat is there, and it is more immediate, and it may use or not use the Shastra to prove the defeat, create and manifest the defeat. And that is Paramatma. Make me dance like a puppet. Prabhupada prayed on the Jaladutta. The essential purpose then is to Paramatma, I'm not going to ask you how to get some money. I'm not going to ask you how to get laid. I'm not going to ask you how I can find a nice place to live and so I don't have to sleep on the sidewalk. I'm not going to ask you for things that people normally ask. You do the talking. You're the puppeteer. Puppets don't talk. They just move when the puppeteer moves them. But it's the puppeteer, not the puppet, that does the talking through the puppet. You have little children looking at a puppet show, and you ask them, which one do you like, Punch or Judy of the puppet show? Oh, I like what Punch is saying. Or I like what Judy said. Well, Judy didn't say anything. The puppeteer said it. But the child is looking at the body of the puppet itself, the physical puppet moving, says, well, the puppet's moving. No, the puppeteer is moving the puppet. No, I saw the puppet move. It's moving. I can tell. So that is what Prabhupada did. He became the puppet or the show bottle, which meant that he was the form of the sannyasi, but the message inside of the bottle was coming, make me dance, coming from Paramatma, you see? And as the sannyas, well, yes, it is, anyone can preach. Some of the best preaching in ISKCON was done by householders with babies on their arms. In fact, when the devotees went to England and met up with the Beatles and cut a record of the Prabhupada's original melody of the Hare Krishna mantra. When they did that mantra, it became lasted longer on the hit parade than the Beatles' most famous hits on the hit parade. Of course, the Beatles went on and did so many records and hits and whatnot. But on that particular song, the Hare Krishna mantra stayed on the British hit parade for a very long, I don't exactly remember how long, but a very long time. And it also came on the American hit parade. Because when my daughter Shakuntala was born, there was a woman, a Mexican woman, my wife, Nischinta Dasi at the time, my Shakuntala's mother, didn't utter a peep when she gave birth, no screaming. She'd studied Lamaze, and I'd coached her in the Lamaze, and it was very successful. She didn't make a single noise. But the woman in the next room over was giving birth also, screaming her head off, unbelievably, for hours, like the whole day, she was screaming. And anyhow, later on, I had brought an original Krishna book for Nischinta, Shakuntala's mom, to have in the hospital while recuperating. And she said, "Oh, I want to visit that woman next door to see how she did," because she was aware that she hadn't screamed, and the woman next door had been screaming for at least a day in agony, real agony. A big woman too. My Shakuntala's mom was little and skinny, and that woman was big and husky, not fat, but bulky and strong, Mexican girl. And so we went. I wheeled her in next door in a wheelchair into the next room, recovery room, and we were talking to her, and we, in the course of everything, and my Nischinta was asked, "What did you name your daughter?" "Oh, I named her Shakuntala," and he explained, she was protected in the forest by raptors like vultures and whatnot. While her stepfather was meditating, he was a yogi, and it was fed by the wild animals in the forest. And he said, "Yes, and what did you name your son, your little boy?" He said, "Oh, I named my little boy Krishna. My little girl." She had a girl. "What did you name your little girl?" "Oh, I named my little girl Krishna." And my Shakuntala's mom nearly fainted. "You named her Krishna. How did you happen to do that?" He said, "Although I'm from a Hispanic family, I heard on the radio a song that was sent over, published by the Beatles, called Hare Krishna Mantra, and it was all about Krishna in that chanting. So I named my child Krishna. I said, if I have a child, I will name that child Krishna. It's such a very attractive sound. So I will name my child Krishna." Named her little girl Krishna. Of course, that's bona fide. Radharani is sometimes known as Krishna in different pastimes, but in different points of view. But the point is that that's not the issue. The issue is that she was attracted by the sound Krishna because it was done by the Beatles. Done by the Beatles, and not by the Beatles, by the devotees in London, the London Temple, chanting Hare Krishna with the Beatles. And who did the chanting? Householders. That's my point. That's where I started out from. Malati and Shamasundar had a little baby girl. And they were all there together with the baby girl recording the Hare Krishna mantra. Baby means 1 year old or something like that. Very newborn, very young. And it became a world classic with householders. So with Prabhupada coming to America as a sannyasi, that was the show bottle, is sannyasi. He could do that, and it was appropriate. But did he try to make everyone sannyasi? No. He made householders, and they went and made Krishna world famous not just in England and America, but all over Europe. The English devotees went and chanted all over Germany, Czechoslovakia, Paris, everywhere. Because of that one record that produced by the Beatles, and they became attracted to the sound of Krishna and the melody of Krishna's name being chanted as Prabhupada brought that melody from Krishna Loka. So this is Prabhupada is saying, the Lord Sannyas, there's another show bottle with preaching as its purpose. The Lord Sannyas, which is the defeat of the impersonalists. So we could say he came to America and he actually defeated everybody. He didn't really run into very many people that he didn't defeat. Even the people he defeated wouldn't say they were defeated, they just became friends. Let's agree to disagree. But that was the type of defeat. But nobody disagreed and nobody fought Prabhupada tooth and nail. I'm right and you're wrong. Well, Prabhupada never said, I'm right and you're wrong. He just pointed out the truth, and the truth is self-evident. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. That's pretty easy to observe because Krishna is all attractive. So in any event, what happened is that this coming to America, he just was basically unchallenged by anyone. And people came and flooded to the Krishna consciousness movement with pure or impure, good or bad, transcendental or completely deluded reasons. They came, they chanted, and the outcome was they made some spiritual advancement. Even if they came to make fun of the chanting, they made some spiritual advancement. In Los Angeles in 1969, we went out in Sankirtan, and it was very charismatic. I was leader of one party, chanting Prabhupada's melodies, and Vishnu John was a leader of the other party, chanting some of Prabhupada's melodies and some of his own melodies. And people started joining, and we were sort of overwhelmed. We couldn't calculate. People came and they joined, like 40 people joined in 1 month. We couldn't believe it. How could 40 people join in 1 month? But they were all there. They were all chanting. They all went out, shaved their heads, went out on Sankirtan. It was just an amazing experience. When Prabhupada was there, they all came and they were seeing Prabhupada. When Prabhupada left, after 3 or 4 days, the temple was empty. We had sent a lot of the more settled and advanced devotees out to open new temples. 1969, that's what you did. We had all these 40 people there. By the time when Prabhupada left, a few days later, there was only 5 devotees. It turned out they'd only come there for fun, for a lark, to see what it would be like. But my point is, did they make advancement from Prabhupada, from seeing him, from hearing him, from being amongst devotees, from being vegetarian for a month? Yes, they did. They became immersed with pure, unalloyed love of God while thinking they were cheating the whole process and just taking it in like a picnic for fun. They did it for real while thinking they were doing it as a trick or as a fake. Not as fake even, but just as a little thing to do. They weren't insincere, but they certainly hadn't intended to join. So there it is. And where are they now? Who knows? Have they become devotees? I would say probably some of them. And if they died, have they become devotees? The chances are there. And if they don't become devotees and they die, they don't become devotees, they will hear the Hare Krishna mantra all over the place because they spent time there and they developed a para attachment and they didn't even know it. They didn't know they were getting hooked. Just like a fish takes the bait, he doesn't realize there's a hook in it. They were hooked and they didn't realize it, so they swam away. But anyhow, you get the point. So there's that shloka. the other show bottle. So I basically covered the other show bottle language in the first, while talking about the first one, because it's impossible to talk about the fake show bottle without talking about the genuine show bottle. So I knew that, and while I was doing it, so I realized there was not much more to be said. about
Hare
the
Krishna,
second show
Prabhu.
bottle.
One thing I want to say is that my son wants to go, so you guys can continue the conversation, and he's I guess hungry or something, and I'm taking
Oh,
him to my mom's house.
Haribol! Keshav, Hare Krishna.
Well, Hare
Do
Krishna.
you want to go? If you go, I won't be able to see you. And you're so beautiful, so handsome, so intelligent. And you're hiding it behind your arm because you don't want me to see you. But I do see you. And you're such a nice boy. Can you, before you, but you want to go, right?
Where
Can
wanna
you
go?
say something? Would you please say Hare Krishna?
बोल तो हरे कृष्ण बोल तो चलिए.
That's nice.
बोलो हरे कृष्णा. बोलो हरे कृष्णा.
Okay. So
So-
we don't have to go much further. We did two shlokas, two lines out of the
Right.
first shloka.
Yes, we can continue tomorrow.
Yes, and do you like the direction, the way it's handled?
Sure. Yeah, this is nice.
But there's a contest between it being an istagosti, which is good, and it being a dissertation on the exposition. So do you think they make it? It's a good combination?
Yes, I think it's pretty good, Prabhu.
Well, do you know how I determine whether it's a good idea or not?
No, go ahead.
By asking you. You're the boss. I'm simply your servant.
Yes. So Vishnu Tejas Prabhu, if you have any questions or anything like that, you can ask Nara Narayan Prabhu, and I'll hand you the control, and you can end it when you like.
Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Hare.
Hare. Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Bhakta Teja.
Okay.
So tell me, what do you want to say? I can't stay much longer myself, but I'd love to have some dialogue with yourself.
Oh, well, I didn't have any questions, but I was just I was thinking. Well, when we were talking about the first one, I was remembering this past time when Srila Gaurkishore Das Goswami disappeared, and then they were all like I'll just read the thing I found. In his humility, he had asked that after